again, guys. Today I want to share something with you that I've been wanting to do a video on for a very long time. Since we've started our YouTube channel and our videos, we get a lot of folks that either the husband is already in trucking or he's done trucking before. They see our videos, they want their wives to get out with them and do the same thing that we do, which is awesome. But a lot of times the wives will comment or email asking, how is it really like out here? And I know we've said this before, and I wish we really would have started our YouTube channel when we first got out here to show the hardships that we went through, because it was not easy when we got out here. So I want to share from my perspective how it was for me not having any kind of trucking experience and then getting out and into a truck and being on the road, essentially living on the road in a confined space with my spouse. A little bit of background: when we first got into expediting, I had been an optician for over 20 years. Jason was working for a local courier company, so he had experience in driving straight trucks and kind of doing this job on a local level. I had no experience and no clue. The only experience I had is when Jason was starting to research expediting. I would go out with him, and even before that, I would go out with him on local runs and kind of ride with him. Once he really started researching it and it really started being possibly something we were going to get out and do, he would take me out in their straight trucks for his company. Now, they didn't have big sleepers. They were still about 40 foot, but they were just a day cab straight truck. And he would let me drive around locally so I could get some experience with that. Now, it's a lot different when you are driving with your spouse or significant other versus when you actually get out here to do expediting. It was really difficult at first for me when we first got out. Not that I wasn't confident in doing it. I had the confidence, but once you actually start doing it, that confidence kind of goes down, or at least for me it did. After we finished orientation, we got our first load, and I don't think I'll ever forget this day, but we got our load and I was gonna start driving. So I started driving. We were in Ohio and I had to drive through a toll booth. I freaked out because I'm like, I'm not gonna fit through this lane. I'm not gonna fit. That was probably my first freak out when we first got out here. When you first get out here, it's very difficult because you're not getting a lot of sleep. It's hard. It's hard trying to sleep in a truck. Most of the time, you're not gonna be up front together. So you have to be confident enough to be up in the driver's seat driving without your spouse or significant other being up there. And sometimes that's difficult. It's difficult because you may get in situations that scare you. I know when we first started out, I was always petrified if I was going to have to be driving my shift during rush hour traffic in big cities like Chicago, New York. I worked myself up about it and it scared me. At first, when you start out, it is stressful because, like I said, you're not getting a lot of sleep. Jason was scared when I was driving. He was worried about it. Is she going to be able to do this? So he wasn't getting a lot of sleep because he was like focused on what I was doing up front. It is difficult at first, and this is just my experience. Everybody's experience is different. Another thing that I faced when we first started out is Jason expected me to know exactly what I was doing. And he knows I'm talking about this, but he was kind of like a drill sergeant. He expected me to know if I didn't do something right, he would get on to me about it, and that made it very difficult, and it made us fight and bicker a lot. I remember one time specifically that he was just on me about the driving, and when my shift was over, I was back there packing up my bags ready to get off the truck once we got to our delivery. That's how bad it got. So, there's gonna be times out here, especially in the beginning, that it's hard and it's difficult. And, not everybody's like that, but Jason, that was just his nature, and he's changed a whole lot. He's not a backseat driver anymore. He pretty much lets me drive, and now I'm very good at driving. I have the confidence and the skill, to do that. But in the beginning, it was very, very hard. And I think a lot of people get out here, they see our videos or they see other people's videos and they think it's going to be very easy, and it's not. And that's why I want to talk about this, to just let you know that it's hard at first and it's going to be hard. You're going to have hard times. In Jason's defense, and I'm not trying to make him sound like a tyrant because he's not, but in his defense, he was simply trying to teach me, and there was times he would tell me something or show me something, and then a week later I would revert back to how I was doing it before. It just takes time to find out what works best for you out here. It took us probably, oh gosh, I don't know, a year or two of switching up our shifts. You know, what shift is going to work best for us, for who's going to drive when. And another thing I can tell you, when we first got out here, you know, I had no clue of what to do about going into shippers and receivers. I can remember the first few weeks, like I wouldn't even go into the shippers or receivers because I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. I didn't feel comfortable with it. Jason was doing it all. But once I started doing it, and one thing that helped is I would go in with Jason to see how to do it, to see what he did, to see what I needed to look for, because not all shippers and receivers are the same. It took a while to learn that. One piece of advice I would give when you're first getting out here, especially for the husbands or significant others that maybe have the experience, be patient with your wife or significant other. Show them how to do it. Don't be a drill sergeant. Don't belittle them because they don't know, or it may take several times of them doing it to feel confident. And again, you may get out here and you're just totally okay with everything. You know, everybody is different. Everybody's confidence level is different, and I just want to share so that you're not getting out here with false accusations that it's going to be easy at first, and maybe it will be easy for some. We've seen so many people or have talked to so many people that they've gotten out here and then they end up quitting because it's not something they like, or the wife couldn't handle it, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you get out here and it's just not for you, there is nothing wrong with that. Just getting out here and trying it, I applaud anybody for doing it because it's not an easy job. It gets easier the longer you do it, and you know, we enjoy it, but not everybody is us. We've seen this job split up marriages, split up boyfriend, girlfriend, significant others. Don't let it get to that point. That is something you never want to see happen. You know, I do feel that you really have to have a strong relationship with whoever you're going to get out here with to make it work. If you're having a lot of difficulties at home and then you're trying to get out here, that may not be the best. You don't have any space to, if you're bickering and you're on a load, you're not getting out of the truck. You don't have somewhere to go to get away from that person. If you're getting into arguments, if you're getting into fights, when you do get somewhere, maybe one of you needs to go into the truck stop. Give yourself a little bit of space. You know, Jason and I are together 24/7, but we have a very strong relationship. We enjoy being together 24/7. That doesn't mean we don't have our issues still. We do, and you always will. But don't let any situation out here split up your marriage or your relationship. It's something not to jump into. We've talked about before, you know, do a lot of research about it. And if it is something you decide to do, keep in mind that it's going to take time, and it's going to take patience, and it's going to take learning, and there's going to be hard times. When we first started, we had a goal set in mind. Jason was all in, but me, I had my reservations. But we saw the bigger picture at the end. You know, we saw successful people out here like the Caffeys, Bob and Linda Caffey, just to name one of them. Jason showed me their blog posts on Expeditors Online. I read a lot. I think I've talked about, even not just in the expediting world, but even female 18-wheeler drivers out here. There's a lot of people that I would watch to gain some confidence, and once I started doing that, I think I was all on board with Jason too for that goal at the end. Ooh, there's a lizard. Just because you decide to get out here, maybe one of you is totally on board and the other one isn't, but you really have that end goal in mind, tough it out. It will get better. But I'm not saying if you just totally hate it to tough it out and stay with it, because if you totally hate it and it's not for you, do not stay in it. One of the biggest reasons we drove for an owner at first, and we always recommend people to drive for an owner at first, is because you you don't know how it's going to be out here. If you go out and you spend $150,000 or even $60,000 to $70,000 for a used truck, you get out here and you totally hate it after 2 months, that's a lot of money you've spent for something that you're not totally 100% sure about. I just hope talking a little bit about our experience of when we first got out and how it was for me can help some of you to kind of think about it, and I'm not trying to discourage anybody of getting out here, and we are always here to help. You can email us, you can message us, you can comment on a video with a question. Any way you want to contact us, we are always here to help, and we will tell you how it is. We won't sugarcoat it. We will tell you exactly what our thoughts are and give you the advice that we think that's going to help you. Success doesn't come easy in anything. It didn't come easy for us. It's probably not going to come easy for you. But if you put in the hard work, you get through the hard times and overcome that, you will be successful if this is something you really want to do. Again, I hope this helps. If you're seeing this and you're trying to convince your wife or significant other to get out here, I hope you share this video with them. Share it with anybody you think that might benefit from it. If you have, again, any comments, questions, feedback, leave it down in the comments for us. Thank you as always for watching and subscribing, and until our next video, peace, love, and expediting.